Do you know?
I did
You know
you
what?
start recording?
Did I?
Did you?
Did I? Wake the fuck up, listeners. We got a podcast to record. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Alina.
I'm Peter.
I'm Cole.
And welcome.
You'll never guess. Sorry, it's the internet. It's hard to tell who's talking next.
Everyone's talking at once. All
You're
the
telling me
time.
that this isn't recorded in a single room with all
No,
of
we
us
couldn't-
sitting
we
in
couldn't-
plastic chairs next to each other?
We couldn't
Uh,
afford
us-
one of those. Our budget is $0.
Our
A
budget-
single pitcher of grape juice in the middle of the
Oh.
table.
Our budget is $0, and also we don't have the time to all meet up in a physical location.
Well, if we all meet up in a physical location, we know what we're gonna do. It's Dungeons and Dragons, and that's the
Yeah.
only reason we meet up half the time.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll never guess whose topic it is again. That's right, it's mine.
we've been doing a lot of
Alright,
Cole's
this should-
topics.
It'll be the end of it soon. Yeah, we decided to do a bunch of mine in a row for some reason.
I don't know
I don't, still
why.
don't remember why we did that.
Because it's
The
easier
Game
than
Awards, because
Yeah, that's right.
yeah the Game
The
Awards,
Game Awards. Yeah.
and also we
So
did
this
it.
was topical,
Yeah,
and then
and then we
3
took.
weeks
And
passed.
then we took too long. But yeah, Cole, what's the topic of today? What's one of your many topics that we're reaching the end of?
Hang on. I had
I killed
I
him.
had a bodily function.
I killed him. I did it.
Don't do that.
No, I need to take his consciousness and put it in someone else, and then they're gonna die.
No, that would be a bad experience for everyone involved.
I don't know what you mean. I'd have a great time.
Yeah, I don't think you want to hold my consciousness in a jar.
No, I'd hold it in a flash drive.
I'm not a robot. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to communicate this to people.
Well, no, you're not a robot, but you could have cybernetic implants in the year 2077 that would allow me to take your
I'm
consciousness.
not gonna live that long, but thanks for being optimistic.
I'm just trying to connect to the
You'll-
topic, man. Why you gotta shut me down?
what do
like
you mean?
that?
You'll be alive. You'll just be old and crotchety.
You know, actually, I do really vibe with being old and crotchety.
Just
Unlike
trying-
me, once I get to the stage of being close to old and crotchety, I take life and I take matters into my own hands and kill myself. I do not want to deal with dementia.
I'll only be old in 2077.
Everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine. Welcome to the Cyberpunk, the dissertation. Broadly speaking, about Cyberpunk 2077, the video game. More in my head about Cyberpunk, the genre, and how Cyberpunk 2077 deals with the typical themes and trappings of Cyberpunk as a genre. So guess what I'm going to talk about first for at least an hour and a half, probably.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Baldur's Gate 3.
No, Cyberpunk
Agreed.
2020, the role-playing game.
You've taken
We'll get there. One more.
my familiarity, and you threw it out the window.
You played tabletop role-playing games?
I have not played the Cyberpunk one.
Neither have I.
Oh.
I know some things about it, here or there, you see.
I don't.
Not really.
But it's okay.
Anyway, I just really wanted to touch on this. It's a very minor point. I just want to touch on the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is very much extremely obviously based on the Cyberpunk role-playing games, which at the time, at its launch, were Cyberpunk 2020, Cyberpunk 2023. There was like a split sort of dealy, if I recall correctly, where we went into. I want to say it's
2036.
Really? Is that the
Yep.
title of it?
Yeah, I mean they all had different titles. Also, the first one was actually 2012.
2012? Man, I'm not as up to date as you are. That makes sense. Because you introduced me to it, you motherfucker.
Yeah, and then I continued to not do anything with my knowledge for a long enough period of time that I know more about Cyberpunk as a whole than I do. I'm gonna relish any opportunity I can to correct you.
Thanks. That means a lot on a personal level.
I'm gonna be here,
As you always are.
as I always am.
As you have been the past 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make it up to you, I swear. I believe there are 4 editions at the time of the role-playing game. It was 2012, 2020, 2023. I think the 2036 one was called something else than 2036. But I don't remember what that was.
Well, that's why we have Wikipedia.
That is why we have Wikipedia. Where do you think I'm going? We improvise here.
The free encyclopedia that anyone can edit?
If you make an
Yes.
account and get vetted by several other editors, yes.
What if I don't wanna?
What if you don't want to?
Yep.
Then you can't edit.
Slander.
Yeah, so first you have Cyberpunk 2013, and then Cyberpunk 2020, and then Cyberpunk just called version 3, which is set in the 2030s. Yeah. They all function at least a little bit differently. I'm pretty sure like 2020 is more of a like direct improvement of the first edition of Cyberpunk 2013, and then version 3 functions almost completely differently, shaking up a bunch of stuff. This is what I was thinking of. This is the thing that you first showed to me, Peter. Was an alternate world sourcebook for Cyberpunk 2020 called Cyber Generation.
Yeah.
And then with the release of Cyberpunk 2077, there was the Cyberpunk Red role-playing game. Probably called that because the video game was developed by peoples. You'll never guess
Red
what
people.
They're red.
It was
CD Projekt Red developed Cyberpunk 2077, and I would be a bit remiss to be talking about the game without mentioning a few things that occurred very quickly. Which were that, of course, Cyberpunk 2077. Fucking Jesus.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk 2077. I've said this name to myself. Shut up. I've said this name to myself many times in lengthy rants, and
You also rant to yourself.
yeah. Whatever in the world made you think I didn't? We don't have time to dissect all of that.
Actually, might be surprised. Okay, probably not all, but you know, we can rant about fucking nothing for quite some time, as previous episodes have illuminated for us.
That's true. We totally could.
Also, like, something smells really good in the kitchen, and I just realized I haven't fucking eaten today. So just talk about Cyberpunk. It's
Okay,
fine. I
okay,
wasn't going to
okay.
contribute a whole lot to this one anyway.
Okay, okay.
The fuck, where was I? Right, so Cyberpunk 2077, 2077.
This is 2077. My god.
Launched to pretty shitty reception for really good reason. It's buggy as hell.
Yep.
And I want to make a stance that I have on this pretty clear, which is that I do not regard 2077 the same way that I do a game like No Man's Sky, which has also had a comeback. Simply because it is two different sorts of lie almost. Because the guy who was doing all the marketing and stuff, like walking around for No Man's Sky, first of all, I think it was pretty clear, I had no clue what he was doing half the time. Because he was he was just some guy, and Hello Game Studio does not have, didn't, at least at the time, have like an actual like spokesperson. This guy's not trained in public speaking or PR shit. He's a game developer. So I don't blame him for, because a lot of the lies around No Man's Sky, if I remember correctly, came from this guy being interviewed, and the interviews being like, "Oh, so it'll have like X Y Z Z Y Z," and he's just like, "Yup, sure will." Still, regardless on if that was the case, if I'm remembering right or wrong, it's
right. I don't know.
It was a while ago. He still is like a game dev guy, I'm pretty sure. So he didn't really he's not media trained. He just I don't blame him for doing so much exaggeration all of the time. And to be honest, I was satisfied with No Man's Sky at launch just because I like space that much. But it definitely did not have all the features that were said it would, and then it got better as time went on, which is great. That's not the case with Cyberpunk 2077. With Cyberpunk 2077, all of the features, for the most part, bar a few things, were in the game. It was feature complete. All those features were buggy as fuck, but they were in the game.
Yes.
They were in the game, and but the reason they were buggy as fuck is because it was kind of insisted that they release it now instead of when it's ready.
Yeah, exactly. There's that whole thing, and then there is one of the more insidious parts was that CDPR was the entire time saying, "Look, we're not crunching for the game. It's out when it's out." And then A, that happened, and then B, they were crunching the entire time. And here's a fucked up thing about the game industry. Unfortunately, at least a little bit of crunch is necessary sometimes. And it is, unfortunately, still effective to a very, very small extent. You can do it for a few hours, maybe a day, but then you have to have a recovery period before you can get back into that shit.
What do you mean just keep working consistently forever?
Yeah.
Most people can't do
Blizzard
that.
has taught me nothing.
Just be a workaholic.
That people can and will work 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. For legal reasons, that's an exaggeration, but not by
that is allegedly.
Cyberpunk crunch was allegedly so awful that some people had been doing it for months. Some of them reported at least like a year, possibly even. So it was bad. It was really, really bad. In all honesty, likely contributed to the state that the game launched in. I imagine if there was not this obscene level of crunch the entire time, and they worked at a more normal pace most of the time, when it did launch, it probably would have been less buggy even if it launched at that same time, because when you do that level of crunch, not only is it unethical and inhumane, it's also just unproductive. It's so weird to me from a business sense, because it just doesn't work to get out a good product faster. But the business sense of the business people is to look at it to just get the product out.
Well, yeah, but they
See, you're missing a very important part of this whole business standpoint, and it's that uh, anyone who makes a paycheck higher than a certain amount no longer sees human life as a life. It is a resource to be expended and utilized to its fullest.
Man, that's grim. Much like the setting of Cyberpunk 20.
yeah, it's also something a lot of game companies do, where it's like they hype the game up so that a bunch of people buy it, try to get it out as quickly as possible, and then they're like, okay, and then we're gonna fix all the horrible stuff later.
Also, no refunds.
Also, no refunds.
Yeah.
God, I have so much to talk about when we inevitably do the fucking Destiny / Warframe episode.
That's gonna be like, I feel like that has to be 3 episodes, unfortunately.
I'm gonna have so much to talk about for each and every one of those episodes.
Because like the thing about that is that we have to talk about Warframe and also Destiny in comparison to each other, which means we have to establish for people who don't necessarily know what both of those are and how they work and their similarities and differences. It's a lot, man.
It is a lot. I'm gonna have a lot to talk about.
I'll be there.
You'll be able to
a
contribute
while
at least a
before we
little
get
bit,
going.
because I'll be mostly going over the history of Destiny, which means you can contribute with pre-Destiny Bungie.
Ooh. You mean I get to talk about Halo? You mean I get to talk about Halo? I get to do a bunch of talking about Halo? I get to do that?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
gonna get to do that anyway when we do the Halo episode.
I know, but the more I get to do, the merrier.
That's true. So needless to say, the development of Cyberpunk 2077 was hugely fucked up, and makes a bit of sense in the greater scheme of like the gaming industry. This doesn't make it any less extremely fucked up. And also,
still like about average in terms of just how awful it is to actually produce games for a living.
yeah, it's also it kind of feeds a little bit into the irony of working in those conditions and making a cyberpunk game, which is about ostensibly, as the entire genre is, working in conditions like that.
The 1920s was Cyberpunk?
Believe it or not,
Oh my
most
god!
dystopic fiction can be applied to any point in time.
That's crazy.
I mostly said the 1920s in particular because that's when the children were allowed to yearn for the mines.
We were allowed. What do you think Minecraft is?
A return to our root, where we enslaved children and put them in coal mines for 8 hours a day, and then wondered why they dropped dead of black lung.
Did you say 8 hours a day? Or
Sorry, I was lowballing.
yeah, you were. The 8-hour workday was invented later. I think you mean 13 hours.
Sorry, I have foolishly assumed that they were being educated alongside that.
No, wrong.
Who needs education when you can just eat coal?
Hey, let's not. From 2 reasons.
I didn't say I was talking about you, Cole. What makes you think I'm talking about you?
Every time we do play Minecraft, this joke happens.
Every rare time we play Minecraft, yeah.
Every time we play Minecraft once a year.
Yeah, the yearly Minecraft session.
Yeah.
I don't even need to explain that. It happens to literally fucking everyone who has a computer. And even those who don't.
It happens at least once a year.
Sometimes more, but yeah.
Unless you're unless your autistic hyperfixation is Minecraft or you're a Minecraft YouTuber, which not mutually exclusive, but one of those is definitely more derogatory than the other.
It's Minecraft YouTuber.
Yeah.
Absolutely Minecraft YouTuber.
To clarify for the audience, it's yeah. Cyberpunk as a genre, as a theme, ostensibly, it does actually kind of go back that far to the 1920s. Where exactly?
It does date back further, actually. It's like
Exactly, that's what I was about to get into. Where it begins exactly is vague as fuck, because if you think hard enough, you can make any science fiction into cyberpunk if you think hard enough. But the general trappings of the genre tend to align a lot with science fiction noir, essentially, if you put those two things together.
yeah. If we're talking about this aspect of Cyberpunk, I can actually contribute to this fucking episode.
Yeah, we are right now. That's currently the part of the episode we're in.
I mean, a lot of Cyberpunk back in the olden days was mostly meant as a cautionary tale with technology, which
Yeah,
obviously in the year of our Lord 2024, who the fuck gives a shit about cautionary tales anymore?
it's the same as a lot of other dystopias in a similar sense of like this is a statement on how things are / how things could become. I thought you had more to say. I was giving you the options to do that.
I mean, I do, but it's more about specific examples that I don't actually know. That's definitely more your forte. I'm not a.
We could talk about Mel Gibson for a little bit.
I know that name, which automatically means he's famous.
Who?
Yeah, it sure is. Was.
Yeah, was. He was an author of
Getting that.
something.
Yeah.
He authored something.
Yeah, I think he authored more than one something.
Something can be plural.
I still don't know who we're talking about.
I was thinking of someone entirely different. I think when I said Mel Gibson, because I think
Mel Gibson is still a rather a dystopian author.
Dude, I was thinking of someone completely different when I said Mel Gibson. I think because I'm looking him up, and Mel Gibson is an actor.
What?
And he's still is
No, I know that. I know the name Mel Gibson.
I also know the name Mel Gibson.
Fuck.
Hang on. We can cut some of this out of the episode. Don't worry.
No, really.
Fuck you mean some of this?
I'm sorry. Oh, when I said I was thinking of William Gibson.
I ask again.
That name doesn't that name does not resonate with me.
William Gibson. He wrote Neuromancer.
What?
I was gonna give my dad that book for his birthday.
It's a really good one. It's considered one of the early modern cyberpunk works. It's the thing that inspired Blade Runner.
Okay.
I think. No.
Blade
That's definitely
Blade Runner was Electric Sheep.
We're getting a lot of stuff wrong today.
Yeah,
Neuromancer is more sci-fi noir than cyberpunk.
Yes.
Because if I remember correctly, it is about a telepath who can read people's thoughts and not, communicate with them telepathically. And he gets more and more depressed until I think at the end of the book he kills himself. Classic 20th century literature.
Yeah. Did you 19th century? Because
I said 1900s, and I was going to say 1900s, but then that's too vague. 20th century is more accurate. despite them being the exact same era.
Those
For some
are-
reason, 1900s is less accurate.
You know what? Sure. Oh, let's quit getting things wrong and start getting things right, hopefully.
No, we love
Left.
spreading misinformation.
It's not really misinformation if we correct ourselves.
It's misinformation.
What if we
for a
correct
short
ourselves
period of time.
incorrectly?
Oh, we didn't. We didn't, though.
Are you sure?
Yes!
Positive?
Yes, I'm sure.
100%?
Yes!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. If you say so.
Yeah, William Gibson wrote Neuromancer, which is a work that a lot of people refer back to now when writing modern cyberpunk, despite the fact that it's maybe not necessarily cyberpunk, depending on who you ask. The genre is confusing.
Understandable.
It's bloody. The genre is covered in blood, and where all the blood pools together.
You know what's funny about Neuromancer?
What?
It was written in 1984.
Yeah, it sure was.
There's another.
And 1984 could also be considered cyberpunk, especially for the time it was written.
No, I don't know if 1984 could be considered cyberpunk, because unfortunately we have a whole other type of dystopia to refer to that.
I mean, okay. Yeah, 1984.
No,
Genre
Orwellian.
defining.
No, we call it Orwellian, Peter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, genre defining.
No one ever refers to anything as Orwellian when it's referencing Animal Farm.
I wonder why.
Hmm.
Could it be that Animal Farm is his second most popular book? Behind a certain sequence of numbers.
Fahrenheit 451? Definitely
Sorry,
Ray
his
by
third
George
most
Orwell.
popular book behind two sequences of numbers. Fahrenheit 451 is not Orwell, was it? No, that was Ray Bradbury. Stop getting shit wrong.
No, but that was a joke! I was joking when I said Fahrenheit
Yeah, come
451.
on, Cole. What's with the misinformation? We're trying to
That one
run a
wasn't
very
misinformation, it was a joke, and I was gonna correct
serious
it.
podcast
I
here.
thought it was gonna be.
Jokes and misinformation are the same thing. One of them is just, one of them has a punchline given to you. The other does not.
It's the punchline of misinformation.
The fact that someone believes it.
And, cue the "you are not immune to propaganda" Garfield me.
Propaganda.
I hardly know her.
I'm glad you said it and I didn't. So I was going to. I would have felt the same way you do now.
Psychological pain?
That. I get enough of that from myself. I don't want it from my peers.
You know what else causes psychological pain?
Cyberpunk?
A
Cyberpunk.
USB in your brain?
I don't have one of those.
Please, USB is so antiquated in this time period.
Yeah, in the time period of the future year, we only use what are referred to as data shards.
Yeah, 1970.
Yeah, 1907. Oh, jeez. That's from the year. Hang on, 1970 is 19,000
Yeah.
and 70.
Evidently, that will be futuristic.
I mean, we won't be
Prehistoric,
here.
depending on how badly things go.
I don't think humanity will be here in the year 19,070 to still be counting the years.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Wait?
To die
Yeah.
of old age and then go into spectator mode?
That could
I
also
mean,
work.
that's what. That is still waiting.
That is still
That's
waiting,
not.
though. Yeah.
Wait, I don't want to get on the topic of the things that we think happens after death, because that's
Why?
inevitably...
Because I'm gonna depress the whole audience?
Well, that's not what the episode is about. We've done too many diversions already, but in short, yes, just say it and we'll move past.
I'm just not. Nah.
No, say it.
Fine, when you die, you just get frozen in the moment of your death. If you die peacefully in your sleep, you never wake up. But if you die in horrific agony, you're there forever.
Yeah, there you go. That's what Peter thinks happens when you die. We're moving on. Just because we'll talk about that when the topic of the episode is death or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in Life After Death in media, which is, I'm going to add that to my topic.
That is a good thing to add.
Add afterlife to your...
Afterlife.
Cyberpunk as a genre typically deals with the crushing, debilitating weight of capitalism, and typically this is something that the tabletop games phrased in a not so great way. They deal with the concept of humanity, one's soul, and what the fuck happens to it when you fill your body with weaponry. This is something that I think the tabletop games do fumble over a little bit, because the name for the stat that you use to determine how many cybernetics you can have before you lose your mind
Is cool.
Which specifically, it's the humanity stat, I'm pretty sure, but...
There is also the cool stat, which does have a direct impact on that.
It does, yeah, it does.
There's a cool stat?
There's a cool stat, and it does not determine how... Well, it kind of does determine how cool you are, actually.
It's more referring to charisma, but it wanted to stick with the cyberpunk jargon.
I mean, this was the 80s when this was
it was also the 80s.
Punk in my 80s? Could have never guessed.
Punk in my 80s looks at the 80s.
Or more likely than you might think. I believe the humanity stat is derived from your cool stat. We're getting into the actual game that I introduced you to, so we're out of my depth.
It's just a little aside, because this is about how this is about like one of the major themes of cyberpunk. It's like augmenting your body and what that does to you physically and mentally, and in some stories, depending on how the world works spiritually.
Cyberpunk Revolution and its consequences.
The cybernetic revolution and its consequences. The cyber-industrial revolution?
We'll go with that.
Sure.
Consequence 1. I have so many cool points.
Consequence 1. Man, I sure did put all my stat points into cool. Consequence 2. Now I have the strength of a small toddler.
However, I can supplement that with the fact that I can inject so many USB ports into myself.
My entire left arm is filled with USB sockets and also a nuclear fusion core.
I am a power strip.
I am a power strip. I've been hired by fucking corporation to serve my entire rest of my life as a power strip in the corner of the office. Provided I do not move or make a sound, I am fed from the slurry tube every 3 hours.
So long as the nuclear fusion core in my arm doesn't have a meltdown, everyone will be fine.
I have to keep my arms submerged in coolant the entire time.
Your arm just is submerged. It's just like in a tiny nuclear power plant.
This is kind of a comedic take on the themes of cyberpunk, but fuck it, we're not here to be serious all the time.
Yeah, I mean...
Trope.
Jester's privilege. We've got it.
Squatters' rights, even.
Squatters' rights, even. Squatters' rights. We make your arm a nuclear power plant.
I declare this arm to be mine. Put the uranium in it.
See, legally speaking, according to the contract you signed, subsection A, subsection B, paragraph 7, we own your entire arm, not the hand, but your arm from your wrist to the shoulder. So we'll be taking that and converting it into a nuclear powered device. Now, if you get enough money, which is roughly $4 billion, you can pay us back for the price of your organic limb. You can keep the hand.
However, if you want to remove your hand, we're currently running a special.
See, if you do give us your hand, we take that as a down payment. It takes about $4 million out of the $4 billion that you owe us.
$5 million if your pinky joints are particularly sought after.
If your hand can do that thing where you can like bend your joints really far backwards, that's $5 million. You can't? $4 million.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Alternatively, you could just die.
Alternatively,
But then the debt will triple and pass on to everyone you know and love.
Yeah, we'll kill you. That'll cost about $500 in and of itself. If you want it done humanely, if you want it quick and sloppy, that's $200. Now, if you're willing to take any amount of pain in the process, we are hiring people to link their neurons together and become a part of our living neural network. You don't get paid, but we will waive your fees.
Yeah, the payment comes in suffering at that point.
Welcome to hell.
Welcome to... Honestly, the neural network thing isn't super cyberpunk, but it could be!
Could be.
It can be. It actually is sometimes, depending on the... See, the genre is blurry.
I mean, Cyberpunk, the game, might, obviously be called Cyberpunk, but it is not the end-all, be-all genre.
No, absolutely
It definitely originated far before the actual title.
There's a minor tangent in my brain about psychic powers, because there's a surprising amount of cyberpunk properties that feature unexplained psychic abilities.
Well, I guess that comes more with the territory of being sci-fi noir. Noir has a very close relation with ESP.
Weirdly enough, it sure does.
What do you mean unexplained, Cole? Listen, if you just shove enough USBs into your brain, you eventually...
Yeah, you eventually gain psionic dominance.
This weird little hair coming that springs right up out of the top of my head. That's not a hair. That's a little Wi-Fi antenna.
It is my Bluetooth
5G tower.
I am the 5G tower.
I am the 5G.
I am the one who knocks.
For your phone bill. Give it.
Jesse. Jesse, we need to cook. People in the microwave.
Jesse, I need to get everyone's 5G Wi-Fi bill.
So the Cyberpunk tabletop game has a stat called Humanity, and that roughly determines how many cybernetic implants you have. Now, I will say that this does run into a slight, sort of vague, moral ethical issue, where just having a cybernetic limb puts a drain on your Humanity stat, but I would like to say that in the context of the game, it makes more sense. It's not just a weird ableist thing, necessarily. Because obviously having a prosthetic doesn't make you less human, inherently. That's not how stuff works. Because in the context of Cyberpunk, the video game, and Cyberpunk, the tabletop game, but Cyberpunk 2077 does not refer to this as humanity. It's forgetting the term right now, but it's referred to as something else that's just like a limit on how much cyberware you can safely install in your body. Instead of humanity. The reason it's called Humanity in the tabletop game is because, as a part of the game, you're going to be fighting people, and so it's expected that what you're getting installed in your body is weaponry. And so it's not necessarily the idea of a prosthetic limb makes you less human. It is the idea of you are actively turning your body into a tool for your job, which is mercenary shit.
Nice.
And that might be kind of a drain on the concept of humanness.
Well, you're telling me killing people for money is
I would say it is
fine and moral?
I would say it is inhumane.
But
No.
what if
And
they
you're
have
welcome.
more cybernetic implants than me?
Yeah.
What are you going to kill them and
Your
harvest
Honor,
the metal?
Your Honor, I didn't kill them. I euthanized them. They had more cybernetic implants than me, therefore they clearly wanted to die.
Yeah?
Your Honor, this person had enough cybernetic implants that their humanity score was 0.
And therefore are not legally a person.
Yeah, and therefore I had every right to tear him to shreds.
No, see, this is where the concept of using the term like humanity for it runs into a few problems, because these are very real events that have occurred to people in the world, where they are denied the concept of humanity and therefore executed like vermin because they're not seen as people, which is why I do tend to prefer the term like using the word of like limit, just like cyberware limit works easier. Also more clear in its language.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But broadly speaking, the use of cybernetics in Cyberpunk being a drain on one's soul/mind/humanity is much more about the idea of this cybernetic limb you've got is not owned by you. It is a part of your body, but you are, legally speaking, renting it. And have to pay for like every finger motion you make. When you're not allowed to flip someone off because it's against the terms of service.
Or at the very least, it'll come out of your wallet.
Yeah, and then you have to pay for a TOS violation. Or in some instances, manual laborers having having to contractually get bits and pieces of their bodies replaced with literal tools in order to perform manual labor better. Like, that's what it's supposed to be about a lot of the time. There's a decent amount of contemporaries that don't take it in that direction and just take it in the direction of cybernetics eat your soul. Any kind of cybernetic devours your mind whole and makes you not a person anymore, which is not the point. And I'll give it to Cyberpunk 2077. It doesn't really engage with this concept whatsoever, which is a little weird, seeing as that's kind of like one of the major schemas of the genre. Cyberpunk 2077 is not a game I would call cyberpunk a lot of the time if it didn't have it in its title, because it doesn't really engage with a lot of the themes earnestly, and it at least not, and also not within like its main story. It's not really concerned with the things that cyberpunk is typically concerned with. But as I've said several times by now, genre's bloody and muddy and vague as fuck. So it could be, I guess, but it's not what I would consider it, because Cyberpunk 2077 is much more a story about like the nature of life and what it means to die. That's what its main story is concerned with. Over anything else, the nature of life, the concept of survival, and what that means in the face of inevitable death. Because you're going to die, inevitably, in the game. In fact, the end of Act 1 is you dying the first time. Hooray!
Yay, death!
See, Cyberpunk 2077, story in brief. synopsis that you would see on the back of the game box, essentially. Excuse me. You play as V, a mercenary. Sorry, I had air in me.
Apparently doing a synopsis shorter than 30 minutes kills cold.
It hurts physically. You play as V, a mercenary. You can decide a variety of different things about V at the very beginning, such as things, really just 3 big things about their history in the past. Depending on the background of, like, were you raised in the streets of Night City? Were you from the corporate life until you lost everything and are now a mercenary? Or were you from outside of the city and recently came here and are now a mercenary in the city? All roads lead to mercenary. Those are the 3 options, by the way.
Yes, your 3 options of mercenary, mercenary, mercenary.
The 3 options are how you became a mercenary.
I know, I just think that it just reminds me of those, like, meme charts where it's just like, did you do the thing? No. You should do the thing. Okay, did you do the thing?
Oh, the fucking flowchart.
Yeah, they all just go to the one point.
Throughout Act 1, you have a partner in crimes named Jackie, and a secondary partner in crimes who's more recent. And they're called T-Bug. Jackie is your solo buddy. Solos are, like, big guy mercenaries. They do a lot of in-person fighting. T-Bug is your netrunner. She does all of the, like, internet stuff. Lots of hacking for you.
The hacker.
Your V can fill any other possible niche. You can have them be another solo. You can have them do other netrunner stuff. You can have them work, just, like, stab a lot of people with swords and stuff. Believe it or not, the sword hasn't gone out of style still. Because when you can augment your legs to move you faster than a bullet, why would you bother with a gun?
I mean, if everyone else augments their legs to be faster than a bullet.
It's expensive, man.
Just go into debt.
Just go. You actually do that as part of the prologue.
Oh. Okay. Hold on.
You go through the opening. You do a variety of jobs here or there before Jackie lets you in on the fact that he's gotten a major score from a major fixer in town, Dexter Deshawn, who's giving you the opportunity of a lifetime. Now, Dex has been out of the game for, like, 3 years, which is not a good look, and he's looking to get back into the game being Cyberpunk 2077, but contextually the game being crime.
I love that game.
Allegedly.
I also like GTA 5.
Yeah, I also like crime in GTA 5.
Crime simulator.
Crime simulator.
Every crime under the sun can be found in GTA, and if not,
Almost.
it's not a crime.
I wouldn't.
Child murder is a crime. There's no children in GTA.
Well, if we
but children don't have souls until they reach maturity, so it's not even murder.
Whoa! Whoa!
Peter, you're gonna cause another schism.
Good. Let the drive.
Jackie lets you know that he's got a big offer from Dexter Deshawn, and despite some trepidation, or maybe not trepidation, depending on how you play it, you take the job anyway. It's an opportunity for the Major Leagues. There's a few things to do before the job has to happen, though. See, the job is to steal a secret little chip from a guy, a really rich guy, Yorinobu Arasaka, the guy who is the son of the guy in charge of the biggest corporation in the entire world. So good luck with that.
I'm sure this goes well.
You do a lot of prep work, which gets you introduced to a portion of the major cast for the rest of the game, a very small portion. until eventually the day the heist arrives. Believe it or not, it goes horribly wrong. You witness in hiding as Yorinobu murders his dad right in front of you, and as the only spotted other people in the entire building who are not supposed to be there, you're the suspected murderers of like the wealthiest and most powerful and most influential guy in the world. You do make a break for it, and you have the chip along the way, but in your escape, the case that it's in gets damaged. Jackie slips it into his brain, because that's where the chip slot is. It's in the back of your head. And you make your way out. However, Jackie is lethally injured in the escape, and due to the everything going awry, Dex tries to have you killed as well. Upon Jackie dying, in his dying breath, he does put the chip slot into your head. The reason the chip slot has to go into someone's... The reason the chip has to go into someone's chip slot is entirely because it needs to be put into a quote-unquote stable location, which is either in a chip slot, and the only ones available were the ones in your skulls, or in the cryo case, but the cryo case was damaged, so in your skull it goes. Dex tries to have you killed, and mostly succeeds, but this has some major complications for him, and you, mostly you. So he shoots you in the head, and what this does is it messes with the circuitry between your brain and the chip slot, kind of causing the two to interact with each other in a fucked up and weird way. You awaken in a junkyard, crawling to safety. One of the security guys that was guarding the wealthiest man in the world arrives, saves your life, gets hunted down by his now former boss, the son of the wealthiest guy in the world who actually killed his dad, because he knows that you witnessed the murder and could end his new career, and he doesn't want that to happen. So he sends people to have you and his former employee assassinated. He saves your life, and your life is saved double again by the guy you're going to get to at the start of the game, Victor, who is your Ripper Doc, who gives you cybernetic implants. He's also a friend, so he gives you some for free, but expects to be paid back. And you wake up after that with the mind of a old-ass Night City legend, Johnny Silverhand, aka Keanu Reeves, real world.
You're breathtaking.
In your head, slowly, in fact, overwriting your brain. The weird interaction between the chip slot, and your brain is causing the chip to see your brain as a vessel for data to be stored in. So it is literally overwriting your brain. Literally. All of your neurons are being shifted around. That shit hurts.
Ow.
You don't actually have feeling inside of your brain, but it causes intense nausea.
Ow.
Your relationship with Johnny starts really antagonistic, and it can get better, or worse, depending on how you react with him. And the story of the game is essentially, you are doomed to die now. Johnny's personality is going to slowly overwrite yours until eventually there's nothing left of you, and he's just in your body. So the scope of the game is trying to find a way to stop that from happening. Surprise, surprise, there's not really a way to stop that from happening. Numerous events occur that involve running into a lot of different dead ends, and by the end of the game, the base game, this is not including the DLC, you have a few different options, which are go with Arasaka to essentially, they're the ones who made the chip, so they're the ones who can try and disentangle you, and if you help them figure out this whole corporate takeover internal fuckery shit, they will help you in turn. Although they are also assholes, so it doesn't super go well for you in that ending. If I recall correctly, you do end up in a psychiatric ward for the rest of your life.
That sounds fun.
Hooray! It's you are not doing well after that point in time. You can't even solve a 4-block Rubik's Cube.
Oh no.
Like, the relationship between your mind and your mental state and your memories and your body is all really jumbled up. But they did save your life, technically. You can choose to have your mind saved in an engram until the point where technology advances to where they can properly disentangle your mind from Johnny's. That's another option. You do technically die, but it's a form of survival. There's my favorite ending, even including the DLC one, which I may or may not talk about, where you get to, where you don't choose to choose either of those things, and you just leave. You leave Night City. You join a group of, they're called nomads. They're the people who don't really live in any major city. They just go from place to place, like nomads. You leave Night City, and you're looking for other ways still to get rid of the chip, but you have accepted that you will probably die from it. There's one where you do just let Johnny have your body. And there is one where you can send yourself beyond into the internet, becoming a cyber ghost with unlimited power. But it is still a form of death, because you're not the same person afterwards. And Johnny does get your body in that one, too. You can choose to recreate what Johnny did 54 years ago, where he blew up Arasaka Tower with a miniature nuke. You can choose to do that same damn thing and die in the process, but your name will go down in history. There's a whole lot of different options here, and they really do cleave to the concept of, will you accept that you are going to fucking die, or will you cling desperately to life like the fucked up animal that you are? And that's why, ultimately, I don't super think that Cyberpunk 2077 is really a cyberpunk story at the end of the day. Because although it does superficially have a lot of the cyberpunk elements, at least stylistically, it doesn't play with them a whole lot. It doesn't really engage with them. It's not about like trying to create something new in this horrific hellscape. There's no real engagement with the concept of the like colossal corporations ruling everything. There's a lot of lip service paid to the fact that like in this alternate reality, and also kind of in the reality that we live in, that you've got this sort of shitty thing that these colossal corporations are in charge of everything, and that there's not a whole lot we can do about it at the moment unless you do something huge. Not necessarily, putting a nuke in the middle of a city and exploding it and killing everyone in the city almost huge, but there's no real contending with a lot of the themes that are present in most other cyberpunk works. Things that are even present in the Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime, which was the 1.6 update in the game as well, that drew a lot of people back into it. And the Edge Runners anime engaged more with the themes of Cyberpunk than the video game did. I'm not saying it doesn't work in this kind of setting. I'm not saying I actively dislike the story. I just personally would not really classify the story itself as a cyberpunk type of story, because it doesn't really engage with it as a concept. It uses a lot of science fiction in it. It uses a lot of things that are related to cyberpunk, but it doesn't really engage with cyberpunk as a concept. It doesn't really use any of the things that are unique to it as a genre. It doesn't fall into the grit as much. In fact, V is kind of above a lot of the grit to an extent, because halfway through the game, you're a hyper-augmented, super powerful mercenary fucker who could kill whoever you want with very little difficulty. Or not kill them, but let's face it, you're gonna kill them.
Kill everyone.
Inject forks into your fingers. You become a murderer.
That's what the mantis blades are. They're just forks on your...
Hands, person, a mantis, go, do crime.
the right? Because the sort of catchphrase of cyberpunk as a genre is high tech, low life, right? It is being mired in all of like the seedy city underbelly and all the fucked upness of it. But when playing the game, you to kind of rise above that in a lot of sense. It is about V becoming a legend in Night City. It's not about the like other stuff. It doesn't engage with like the humanitarian quandary half the time. It is ultimately one of the things. It's kind of similar to the thing I don't like about one of the things I don't like about Skyrim, which is like it engages so much more with the power fantasy than anything else a lot of the time that it just kind of loses some other stuff. Like I do like the story of Cyberpunk. I think it's very thrilling. One of the things that the game hasn't changed in its myriad of updates since is the story itself and the way that the characters are written, because they are written wonderfully. They feel amazing. That's one praise I will heap on this game, is that it's very, very well written. It just the gameplay itself, however, doesn't reinforce the themes a lot of the time. They're kind of two worlds about it, where when you're engaging with the gameplay side of things, you're an unstoppable mech beast. And then when you're in the dialogue bits of the game, you can be better than that, you can be worse than that. And they don't really reinforce with each other, they don't play with each other nicely.
Mm. I see.
And the DLC does engage a lot more, however, with cyberpunk as a theme, but also kind of less, in a sense. It's where I think that kind of line is exacerbated a little bit, because the gameplay element is still there, and the DLC includes plenty of things that make you even more ridiculously powerful. Here's a little lore thing for you. Within the world of cyberpunk, about 50 something years ago at this point, the internet was destroyed. A guy named Bart Moss, that's his last name, I forget his first name. Oh no, I never remember his first name. His first name is Roche. Roche Bart Moss.
One of the names of all time.
Released a virus that literally demolished the internet and made all of the AIs that existed at the time either go insane or released a bunch of ones that were already insane. And so in order to protect people and also what remained of the internet, the organization Netwatch was founded by the new United States of America. Because yes, there is a new United States of America in Cyberpunk.
Ah, yes, my favorite country, Noosa.
Every time I read it, I do call it Noosa.
Noosa.
In my head, everyone refers to it as the NUSA. I'm like, no, it's Noosa.
It's Noosa. Calling it anything else is unjester-like, and therefore wrong.
The organization Netwatch created the Blackwall, which itself is also an AI, but a tamed one, essentially, that is safe for human interaction, to keep all the other ones out of like different pockets of the internet. So there are these little pockets of the net, and in the DLC, you can gain access to both a gun and a cyberdeck. A cyberdeck is the thing that gives you access to these isolated pockets of the net and do. It's the hacking system.
Hacking.
You can gain access to a gun and a cyberdeck that have creatures, AI from beyond the black wall, either infused in them, or it's been touched by them, or it's been worked with them in some way, shape, or form. But they talk to you when you use them. You gain access to these fucking ridiculous things that are fundamentally beyond human comprehension because it's just pure data. So, like, in the gameplay side of things in that game, in the DLC, you are more ridiculous than ever. In the story narrative side of things, it's this harrowing tragedy that you can do fuck all about. Cyberpunk 2077 is really one of the instances of RPG video games where I feel the dissonance between gameplay and story so strongly, because you can do ridiculous, incredible things in the gameplay, and to an extent the story, like you can do those in boss fights because those are gameplay. But in like cutscene bits or story bits, you can't do those things. The DLC does deal with Nusa, specifically their answer to the sort of thing that Arasaka was working on, because Arasaka was doing the engram shit, right? That's how you get Johnny Silverhand's mind in your brain. He's an engram of his old self, and he is it's a digital replica of a dude, and it's, you know, that shit can be kind of ridiculous because it can kind of grant a form of total immortality, provided that you have a literal backup hard drive of your brain. And you can just plop that into a computer and become ridiculously powerful. You can apparently forcibly infuse it into someone else's brain to take over their body. All kinds of ridiculous shit. And so the answer that Nusa has,
How dare
that Nusa has to it, is taking a really skilled netrunner and infusing her with all kinds of cybernetics in order to make her do it even better. Literally, when you meet her, basically everything from the neck down is just wires and cables. All she still has is her brain, because that's the thing that you can't fully replace in Cyberpunk.
But you can put USBs into it.
You can put USBs into it. Well, they don't go into the brain, they connect to the brain through your nervous system. In fact, the problem with V is that the chip slot is now directly connected to the brain and is injecting data right into it.
Slaps roof of V. This bad boy can fit so many data chips in it.
Slaps V in the face, gets murdered 17 different ways. And this very talented netrunner, her name is Somi, but her alias is Songbird. So that's what I'll call her, Songbird, because it's faster on my tongue. She is... Sorry, I can't pronounce non-English names super good.
This just in. Cole is racist.
Not necessarily. Cole could just be xenophobic.
I'm neither of these things.
I said could.
I'd like to think I'm neither of those things.
You'd like to think you are. You know you are.
Everyone claims they're not xenophobic until they have to deal with xenomorphs.
I just die.
You hate them so much that you just die on the spot?
Oh, wow.
I'd have a heart attack seeing something that's so not shaped like a person.
Wow.
In a human purist.
Hey, I think I...
So not shaped like a human. So like, by that logic, if you saw any animal, you just
the same
die.
thing would actually happen if I saw a scorpion. Do you guys remember what happened when I saw a centipede in my room? I straight up did not re-enter it for like 5 days.
I do remember that.
Just get a salt gun.
I don't have... Moving on. The NUSA has filled Songbird with all kinds of cybernetics that make her really good at her job of net running. Here's the thing. She's so talented that she can poke beyond the black wall. This has done a big number on her mind, because holy shit are those things beyond human comprehension. At the start of the game, not the game, the DLC, she asks V, as a space shuttle is crashing, to use it to rescue her and also the president of Noosa, in order to rescue them. Over the course of things, numerous different conspiracies unweave. There's a lot of layers to it I'm not going to go into, but you can try and help Somi leave, or not, or kill her. There's a bunch of different ways to go about things. Depending on how you've done things, she might want you to kill her actively, because she's been re-subjected to horrors beyond her comprehension and can barely think anymore.
I'm here to take you down, please. Please
He's not
do
even
it.
an enemy at that point in the thing.
Oh.
Well, you would
That'd
be
be
like,
funny,
I'm here
though.
to take you down. She can be an enemy later, because you're doing all of this, V is doing all of this, in order to continuously still try and get a cure. That's what Songbird tempts you in with her message, is like, hey, I have a possible cure for you. Do this for us, and in return, I'll do it for you. And technically, the NUSA, Noosa, does have a cure for your bullshit. But
Is that cure a bullet?
no. Songbird also claims that she has a cure independently, but here's the thing: the cure that she's supposing only works once, and she wants to use it on herself to help her regain a semblance of her mind. She doesn't tell you this; she betrays you at the very end. Yippee!
Woo! Betrayal.
If you return Songbird to the Noosa, she hates you, but she doesn't have a brain for super long afterwards, so she doesn't hate you for very long. And Noosa does indeed go through and sorting your problem. According to the government, the problem was remedied by removing the majority of cyberware in your body. You're just like a normal dude now. And in this ending, you get kind of roughed up by like 2 random gang members after you've been in treatment for 2 years. You've been in a coma for 2 years. NUSA, Noosa, and Militech are running rampant in the streets of Night City, as they essentially go to war with Arasaka, starting possibly a 5th corporate war. Hooray! V has, over the course of the 2 years, lost the majority of their friends, except for Victor Vector, the Ripper Doc, and Misty, Polish last name I can't pronounce.
And or won't. War at
Won't.
11.
Won't try. I also don't remember it, I just remember that it's Polish.
Wow.
Her last name's mentioned like nowhere in the game.
Wow.
I read it once in a document somewhere.
Wow.
Poles racist thoughts aside.
I'm gonna kill you.
He's also violent.
You get roughed up by 2 people, and Misty does come to help you out. The thing I don't like about this ending is, first of all, it's not really mentioned a whole lot in this ending, at least as a suspicion, but I'm pretty sure the Noosa is lying to V about having to remove basically every single piece of cyberware from their body. That just seems unlikely. Secondly, there's like a whole thing with like BioWare, not the game company, biological hardware, in Cyberpunk, that, like, listen, if cyberware has only ramped up in power and ability, why hasn't BioWare as well? Why can't I get, like, biologically augmented instead? First of all. Second of all, numerous famous people in the history of Cyberpunk, the tabletop game, as in, like NPCs that are in, like, the fucking source books and stuff, have, like, no real augmentations going on anyway. I know it's, there's like a 57-year gap between Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk 2077, but I still feel like that should be applicable. I feel like the weakness that V has this ending should be more attributed to the fact that they've spent 2 years in a coma, but that's not the way that the game plays it off, like, at all. And it's not really a thing that I understand about it. And again, this doesn't feel like a very cyberpunk sort of thing to me to happen at the end of the story. It's much more in line with the story's concept of, will you survive at all costs? Or will you accept that you're going to die? Because that's the main focus of the main story. And this is an ending to the entire game that you can technically get early. Because you only have to complete one quest line before you can do this ending. Whereas in order to get the standard endings, you have to complete 2 different quest lines.
Love the idea of just, let's see where this quest line takes me. Oh, and I'm in a coma. Oh.
Further augmenting the fact that I think this is not one of the greatest endings of the game is the fact that it's also referred to as the Tower ending. There's a whole thing in this game with various tarot cards and symbolism and whatnot. Specifically, the Tower in tarot is a card of disaster. It foretells of a horrific, big, impending change for the worse. And I think this probably spells it out for, like, not necessarily just V, but, like, the world state as a whole. Because, like I said, when you do that, when you hand Songbird back over to the NUSA, Nusa, and they use her net running skills to poke beyond the black wall and get crazy shit to happen, they're gonna go to war with Arasaka again. The 5th corporate war looms on the horizon. Do you know what happened at the end of the 4th corporate war?
Nuke go bird?
The internet exploded.
Oh.
That's why Bartmoss did what he did.
Ah.
Part of the reason. It's one of the ones listed.
Reason 1, the war. Reason 2, I just don't like the internet that much.
Reason 2, I hate Tinder.
I hate Tinder.
Reason 1, war. Reason 2 may shock you, but it was Rule 34.
I had to get rid of it. I couldn't take it anymore.
Reason 3. Shrug. Reason shrug emoticon. Reason 4. Image of shark biting the underwater internet pipelines. Fucking cables that are undersea.
Funny.
Funny.
Item 5. Funny.
Funny.
Yeah, that's roughly the game, the themes therein. I think it's functionally worth playing. I think it has been worth playing basically the entire time. But if you're looking for a story that is inherently cyberpunk, you're gonna have to look elsewhere, I think. Because the game does not deal with the themes of cyberpunk in its main story content. It much more is interested in the aesthetics of cyberpunk, which isn't a crime, but hey, what are you gonna do? Kill somebody? I'm not a fucking chromed out mercenary.
Now, if you want a story about slowly turning into Keanu Reeves,
that's your fucking.
That's
if you want to have fictional internet beef with a guy played by Keanu Reeves, this is the game for you. If you want to watch a hologram of Keanu Reeves roll off a construction girder that's being held by a crane and vanish as he hits the ground because he's a funny guy, this is the game for you. That was actually one of my favorite. Because once Johnny realizes that he's like a hologram to you, he starts fucking around with it. And that was one of the things where I was at a construction site having a conversation with a major NPC, and he pops up in the background to make some snide remark. And then when he felt like leaving, he just rolled. He was lying on his back, and he just rolls over off the side of the building and disappears. There's some solid humor in this game.
His human instinct.
And some very, very good characterization.
His human instinct for survival kicks in, so it's just, he says the thing and then he rolls out like, ah!
It's hard to tell when he does these things if he's like perceiving through your eyes where he himself in third person, or if he's perceiving himself in first person somehow. I wouldn't know. I'm not a data construct of a guy who blew up a city. Or Keanu Reeves. I'm not well-known vampire Keanu Reeves.
Peter, did you just say yet?
Indeed, I did.
I hope I never blow up a city with a mini nuke.
Well, I mean, yeah. Duh. I was more talking about the being trapped as a hologram in someone's mind.
Oh, I don't want that to happen either, but I guess
But you could roll
if
off
you had
the
to
construction
choose,
site.
though,
I had to choose.
if you had to choose, which Keanu Reeves would you want to be?
Well, those are the same character that he's playing.
Yeah, which aspect?
A hologram.
To be trapped in someone's mindscape for eternity?
It's not for eternity. It's
blowing
until,
up a city?
It's until
You
they
just have
die.
to live with the guilt, not yours and theirs.
No, but Peter, imagine it. I could make their guilt worse. I could engage in psychological torture until they die, or take me out of their brain. Either way, I win.
Fair enough.
If you're asking me if I would
Look
like
to
to
the
be
audience.
Keanu Reeves,
Don't,
the answer is yes, because he's clearly a timeless, immortal vampire. But that's a different conversation.
He's also
Note to the
John
audience:
Wick.
do not put random cybernetic chips into your brain, especially if that has coal in it, because he will absolutely ruin your life for fun. He has admitted to it.
I'm already dead at that point, so really, what would even be the harm?
Yeah, so is fucking Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah, exactly. And he does try to kill you at first.
But he fails.
He does fail. And he apologizes. Well, he doesn't really apologize.
He lets you know that he won't fail next time.
No, he lets you know that he's done some thinking and moved on from the idea of trying to have you be killed or dead. He wants you to live now, because if you live, then he can accomplish his goals through you, and maybe possibly get him out of your head and into someone else's head that he doesn't care about.
And then he forms a
Not to say he
connection with
cares
that
about you at
person,
that
and
point
then-
in the story. That's at the beginning. That's at the beginning of the story. That's before he cares about you at all.
He just sends up.
And
in
he might
this-
never care about you if you hate him the entire time. Sorry.
He just
I'm
ends
done.
up in this endless cycle of like going into someone's body, starting to care about them, trying to get into a different body, going into the different body, starting to care about that person, going into another
I have
body.
I have to go do something really quick, but I think this is the end. I have nothing more to really say about the game. So Peter, you can if you want, you can play a sound effect while I go.
Well,
I gotta go do a thing. I'll be right back.
sound effect. We're not. We still got like.
It's been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Not even.
Sorry, man. I'm out of most of my shit. I have to go do a thing anyway.
We
I'll
can
be
talk
right back.
about other fucking cyberpunk media.
I have to go do something. I'll be right back. Figure out you. I'll be right back.
I don't imagine you were forced to read any cyberpunk media
No.
in school.
No. Not really. I read Fahrenheit 451, but I don't remember it that well.
I mean that's Orwellian anyway.
Yeah. You know, most of the books I read in school were boring.
Not cyberpunk at
Yeah.
all. Not even related as such.
Yeah. So I think I had like one dystopian book ever, which was Fahrenheit 451. Two. I don't remember what the other one was. 3? Oh no. I'm opening a can of worms. Nothing cyberpunk though. I did bear witness to the sheer amount of glitches in the game when it first came out. That was fun.
As expected.
Yes. I don't know. Peter? Would you hypothetically shove robot parts into yourself?
Sorry,
Absolutely.
guys, I had to go blow up a city.
Okay. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This just in: Cole is becoming Johnny Silverhand.
I'm not good enough at guitar.
Yet.
Johnny Copperhand.
I also haven't been in a war.
Johnny
Tin Hand.
Johnny Unranked Hand.
In hand.
Johnny Skin Hand.
Johnny Skin Hand.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Anyway, what other cyberpunk media can we talk about?
We can talk about Akira.
I know fuck all about Akira.
Why?
From the bike pose.
What is Akira?
It's a manga / anime.
I guess there is also Ghost in the Shell, which I did.
Good movie.
I've heard of that. I don't know what it is.
Ghost in the Shell?
Isn't it about a ghost in a shell?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's similar to Akira in the sense that it is also anime. A movie. Although I guess there was a live action movie with
bad
Scarlett
one.
Johansson, I think.
Yeah, with Scarlett Johansson.
I didn't say it was good. I said it existed. I didn't watch it, so I also couldn't.
Same.
I didn't hear anything about it either, so I just assumed it had faded into obscurity. And
It did.
I think I saw some ads for it years ago, but I didn't register.
There were a lot of ads for it. Man, I'm sorry. I thought I do have more to say in some regards, but a lot of it's like mechanical nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, here, I'll pose.
Yeah, I guess the rest of the episode is going to be other cyberpunk media, like the genre as a whole, not the game.
That's fine. The two are sort of inextricably linked. I mean, the game is based on the tabletop named for the genre.
Yeah, and I mean the tabletop is very much in line with the cyberpunk genre.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mike Pondsmith knew what the fuck he was doing when he was writing it. And he did help in the construction of the video game. I just don't know to what extent. Because it doesn't...
I also think that a lot of
the doesn't feel like
cyberpunk...
his writing very much. It feels like his world, but the writing of it doesn't feel like the way he wrote.
I also think that a lot of the genre aspects of cyberpunk are a lot harder to put into a video game. One that is in the style of 2077.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2077 is an action RPG, so
Yeah.
it is kind of difficult for you to feel less powerful.
Yeah, it's really hard to get that idea of like, oh no, you don't have any power when the whole point of the game is to get more powerful. That would be like being like, you want to level up? Fuck you.
Yeah, like the guys that you fight don't have access to the same tools that you do, whereas in the tabletop game, the guys that you fight absolutely have access to the same tools as you, and sometimes much better tools than you.
Yeah.
The games, the tabletop games, as a lot of tabletop games do, when at least when I'm running them, uh, you're going up against threats that are much, much larger than you in a social sense, in a monetary sense, in a physical sense, a lot of the time. That's
Yeah,
absolutely the case with Cyberpunk, the tabletop game.
it's similar to like either you're the most powerful being in the universe, or you have to power of friendship your way out of everything.
Yeah.
There's not really an in between. Cyberpunk is very much the latter, except power of friendship does not win.
It's
Well,
it's not power of friendship your way through everything. It's power of sheer fucking human will your way through everything.
I
Yeah.
will defeat you with the power of friendship and these scissor hands I found.
Fucking Edward Scissorhands. Because in Cyberpunk, the tabletop game, a lot of the things that you're contending with are the like big fuck ass corporations, and so you're dealing with an opposition with an enemy that is so much inconceivably more powerful than your little group of fuckos is. That really you're like scratching and clawing for any kind of advantage to just get this one operation done. And you do go against corporation in Cyberpunk 2077, but not in like a similar way whatsoever. Like I said, you are a hyper powerful Borg beast. You can annihilate basically anything in your way. By the end of the game, even someone like Atom fucking Smasher, who is 98% metal, and all of that metal is military grade,
With the sole purpose of destroying anything in his fucking path.
he's not easy by any stretch of the means, but he's not super difficult really either.
Wait, what's his
The main
name?
difficulty comes from the fact that he has
Adam
like 3 health
Smasher.
bars.
I thought Adam Sandler. Whoops.
Sandler?
Adam Sandler, the greatest threat to any and all being in the Cyberpunk universe.
Fucking Adam Sandler, the big bad mercenary hired specifically by Arasaka to serve as the personal bodyguard of Yorinobu, the guy who accepts any mercenary contract as long as he's allowed to cause as much damage to the surroundings and nearby people as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
That's Adam
Sandler.
Sandler.
Yeah.
The guy from the movie Grown Ups
Yeah.
is also that guy.
Yeah.
The goofy guy in the t-shirt and basketball shorts.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
See, that's where he gets you. He may be 98% military grade metal, but he hides it under a fake skin. So he just looks like a normal, weird comedian, man.
He hides it under his basketball shorts.
Under his basketball shorts. I don't know how he crams 98% of his body into those shorts, but you know, he gets there.
Yeah, no, here's an actual pic of Adam Sandler in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, that's him already.
For our wonderful listeners. What we have here is an image of Adam Smasher with Adam Sandler's head photoshopped atop it.
What do you mean Photoshop? That's 100% real.
That's actually exactly what he looks like in game.
Yeah.
Certainly hasn't had his jaw replaced with some kind of miniaturized fucking dumpster truck crushing device.
What do you think the beard is?
What do you think the beard is? Actually, this is from the first time you ever see Adam Smasher in the game as well, which is even funnier to me. Imagine, because this is in preparation for the heist at the start that goes horribly wrong. It does not go horribly wrong because Smasher is there. He's just kind of standing around. But Smasher is kind of the one who's the reason that Jackie is dead, but because he shoots the car that you're in and all of the bullets hit Jackie. But like, I think it'd be really funny if you're doing reconnaissance for a heist mission and fucking mech'd out Adam Sandler walks past you into the elevator. The line that Adam Smasher says here as he's looking at the prospective character. So in the game, there's these things called brain dances, and they're like little VR recordings where someone installs an implant in themselves that allows them, that like records everything that they see and hear and feel and stuff, records all their senses, and then you can like import that to like a video file, and then other people can experience the situation. And so the person who is essentially passed the job to Dex to pass the job to you, got this brain dance of the area you're supposed to steal from, and as Adam Smasher walks past her at the very beginning, he looks at her and like the piece of shit that he is, he's like, he says, "You look like a cut of fuckable meat. Are you?"
Oh.
And now I'm imagining Adam Sandler saying that now.
You look like a cut of poopable PP.
What is your impression of Adam Sandler?
So I got that Reddit post and I'm reading the comments and that's one of them.
Oh my god.
Honorable mention to the one saying that there needs to be an accompanying Robbie Schneider hand.
Oh man, I hope someone's done that mod. Dude, someone's made a mod to make Johnny Silverhand look even more like Keanu Reeves.
How?
It's just
I don't
Keanu
know.
Reeves. What do you mean?
I've looked at the fucking images in the mod and they look the same. I don't know what it's talking. I think it's. I don't know. It looks the same to me, unless there's like differences I'm just not noticing. Like,
Here, are you able to pull up like?
I can absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I gotta
Yeah.
use my keen designer eye to tell the difference, if there is any.
Because every time I've looked at that mod, I'm just going off of like what I remember Johnny Silverhand looking like in the game, so I could very well be remembering him looking more like Keanu than he does. I'll just sign back into my mod account real quick so that I can go into my history.
Give me the images. Give me them now. Give me them faster.
Only as fast as my fingers will type, which is not very fast half the time.
Speed. How did they look at this guy and go, I know a good name, Adam Smasher, and no one in the room thought Adam Sandler?
Oh well, no, because he Adam Smasher is from the original tabletop games. So is Johnny Silverhand.
Okay. Now
Adam
here's
Smasher has lived that long because he's 98% made of metal.
now here's the real
Johnny
question.
Silverhand has lived that long because he hasn't lived that long.
Johnny Silverhand died
Like a
54
ghost.
years ago.
Yeah, now here's my question. What came first, the tabletop or the Adam Sandler?
When was Adam Sandler born?
Here, let me look.
He's like 40 now,
Oh
at
my
the
God.
very least.
Adam Sandler born. Let's see. 1966.
So he
Yeah.
is younger than the Cyberpunk tabletop game.
He predates Adam Smasher.
Good for him.
Therefore,
Adam Smasher is in fact based off of Adam Sandler.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so that's Johnny Silverhand in the like promo trailer where he's like, "Wake the fuck up, samurai,"
uh-huh.
and then this is an image from that mod, and they look function like the beard is different, but the face is the same to me. There's like slight differences.
Um
Yeah, they really are just the same.
One looks more
Here's
rendered than the other.
here's an image of Johnny in game. This is also one of my favorite moments with him.
Nice. Nice. But let's see.
Just to move it down some, I'll repost the. Epi, what are you doing? I should put both of them together, hopefully. Yeah, now they're right next to each other.
Okay. I think no, his nose is big.
Yeah.
The Johnny Silverhand one has a bigger nose.
Are you sure it's not just at the different angle?
No, I'm positive because when I look at the other one you sent of Johnny Silverhand next to Keanu Reeves, the nose still looks bigger, and that's basically the same angle, just like mirrored.
True.
So,
Yeah.
so his nose.
Is it really just the beard and the nose is a little
I
different?
think it's the beard, the nose, and maybe the jawline, but it's hard to tell because of the beard.
Huh.
They're very similar looking.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they based the appearance of Johnny Silverhand in the game off fucking Keanu Reeves.
I know. I'm just I can see
Which is why
how
I'm confused as to why the mod the description does say that it is minor changes, so it's not claiming that it's anything. Yeah, slightly alters Johnny Silver's
Johnny Hand Silver, Long John
facial
Silver's.
appearance, mostly eye area and nose bridge and hairstyle to resemble Keanu Reeves a bit more. So it's not saying it's any like major alteration.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do any of those.
See, what the mod actually did is just put Keanu Reeves in the game. Like he can just do that. Like, everything you see Johnny Silverhand do, Keanu Reeves did without. There was no motion capture or anything. They just filmed him doing that.
He didn't fall off a building and then vanish in a video game. He just did that in real life, and they recorded it.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves can just do that.
I'd believe it.
Just like Hideo Kojima can cut a police car in half with his fucking mind.
What?
Hideo Kojima is the big guy behind Metal Gear, including Metal Gear Rising Revengeance and Metal Gear Rising.
Ah.
The sword one where you cut things.
Ah. Oh.
Yeah, the standing here.
I remember. I remember. Got it.
Yeah, I've already made the accusation 3 times now that real world Keanu Reeves is a immortal vampire. So
Is it even an accusation? Because accusation carries like negative connotations.
it's an
That is very
accusation
much
because
just
he
an
hasn't
observation.
confirmed or denied yet.
Somebody asks him that in an interview, he's just like, no comment.
I don't know.
I mean, he probably
I don't-
would.
I mean, if you're an immortal vampire, wouldn't that be the classic go-to response?
Even if you're not, that'd be just like no comment. They just look at you.
I mean, you could always lie and say no.
Yeah, but that's not fun. No comment is more fun. Especially when you're not an immortal vampire.
Yeah, but lying and saying you're not an immortal vampire when you actually are.
See, but that's what they want you to do.
Or saying that you are when you're not.
Guys, if we ever play Vampire the Masquerade, one of someone's like vampire sires or whatever should be Keanu Reeves. Just putting that into the world.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Vampire the Masquerade.
Vampire the Masquerade is a TTRPG.
Oh.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
storied TTRPG. It's got a lot of fucking content.
Oh. Alright.
Like there have been multiple video games about it, I think.
Neat. I think we've run out of topic.
Yeah, this is gonna be a shorter episode, I think.
Well, we're at the 2-hour mark actually, so we're probably fine.
Yeah, but like a lot of this has been completely inane faffing about Keanu Reeves or random bullshit.
I mean, hey, if we condense all the faffing into one Keanu Reeves fueled spiel, that makes my editing job a lot easier.
It was contained mostly to the very beginning or the very end of the episode.
Yeah, see, exactly. Alright, well. Peter?
Oh, right, yeah.
Keanu Reeves, he's found us!
Oh god!